discovered undeniable proof of my wife's secret affair after she insisted she needed time to figure things out. I discovered the horrifying truth about my wife's infidelity after she claimed she no longer felt the spark in our 8-year marriage. We've been together a bit longer and have 2 young kids. This year has been brutal, filled with arguments, but nothing I thought could drive her to betray me. Lately, she'd been distant, uncommunicative, and I couldn't shake the sense that something was terribly wrong. One evening, I decided to confront her. She confessed she was unhappy and no longer felt a spark. My initial reaction was a crushing self-doubt. Was I such a neglectful husband? But then, the next day, I stumbled upon a chillingly affectionate message on her phone. It was filled with declarations of love and plans for a future with another man. My heart shattered. Determined to handle this with cold precision, I took a step back, absorbed everything I could, consulted lawyers and steadied myself. When I finally confronted her a few days ago, I was calm, but my insides were boiling. I asked if she was having an affair. After a nerve-wracking pause, she confessed to a 6-month relationship, describing it as the deepest emotional connection she's ever experienced. It was all lies, but I steeled myself for the next steps. I laid out my demands, cutting off contact, marriage counseling, and strict boundaries. The final blow to any hope of reconciliation came when she exploded at the idea of cutting off contact, especially when I insisted she do it in front of me. She even demanded to see him one last time for closure. I stood firm, telling her if he was so vital, she could pack her bags and leave. She backed off, but not before hurling accusations at me, calling me a controlling jerk. This morning, she sent a text, but my instincts tell me she's already plotting new ways to communicate with him. I'm now certain there's no salvaging this marriage, but I need to be able to tell my kids someday that I did everything I could. Tomorrow, we're scheduled for marriage counseling, but I'm seriously considering filing for divorce before investing any more time or emotional energy. My main concern is my kids. Moving too quickly could hurt them, and I want to protect their well-being as much as possible. I'm torn between the need to act decisively for my own sake and the desire to shield my children from additional turmoil. You're right. Navigating this mess while safeguarding my interests and my children's well-being is critical. It's a thankless situation, and while I'm trying to balance everything, the urgency to act is clear. Reconciliation takes both parties, and it doesn't seem like my wife is fully committed, given her resistance to sever ties with her affair partner. In the past few weeks, I've done a lot of soul-searching. We did attend counseling after my initial confrontation. The counselor has been incredibly fair, listening to both of us without assigning blame and helping us confront underlying issues in our relationship. While this doesn't excuse her actions, it's offered some insights that might help me in future relationships. However, despite the counseling, my wife's reaction to my demand to cut off contact with the affair partner was non-compliant. I caught a few more messages before she clamped down on her communication. That's when I decided to file for divorce. She was served a few days ago. I also had a heartfelt conversation with my father-in-law, someone I'm very close to. I needed his support for our kids as it became clear my wife was trying to downplay the severity of what was happening. My wife was initially devastated. Her fantasy of everything going back to normal was shattered. Her therapist has been working with her to understand why this had to happen. It seems like she's beginning to grasp the gravity of her actions and the real losses she faces. Meanwhile, I'm trying to come to terms with this seismic shift in my life, from being a husband and father to something unrecognizable. I've kept my distance from her, but her reactions have been intense and emotional. She's visibly shaken, and I think she genuinely believed I would never have the strength to walk away. It's a small positive amidst the chaos. Despite everything, my wife and I have managed to keep our conversation civil, focusing on our top priority, our children. I've made it clear that her actions have inflicted a deep wound on me, and that she needs to take responsibility for her part in repairing it. I've emphasized the need for space and time, recognizing that forgiveness might be a distant hope for now. Her betrayal was incredibly selfish and hurtful, but I'm trying to keep my focus on raising our kids and figuring out my path to personal happiness. I appreciate all the support and insights I've received. It's been a challenge, but I'm proud of how I've managed to avoid sinking into self-pity, anger, or sadness. I'm making the right decisions, maintaining my dignity, and starting to look forward to a brighter future. My emotions are still in flux, but I'm beginning to find some inner peace. Thank you all for your help and encouragement. It's clear that you've grown a lot through this process, handling a painful situation with grace and dedication to your children's well-being. While your wife's actions are inexcusable, your commitment to maintaining a level head and focusing on your own peace is commendable. The journey to healing is rarely straightforward, but your approach, balancing dignity, focus, and self-care, demonstrates resilience and strength. Update. Hi everyone. Thanks for the support and advice on my recent situation. I'm moving forward and feeling more positive lately. The original post details my experience, and I'll link to it along with a post about my decision to serve my soon-to-be ex-wife with divorce papers. Right now, I'm navigating the phase after serving her, working closely with my counsel. I'm curious if any of you who've been through similar situations managed to leverage the affair fog to negotiate better divorce terms. My soon-to-be ex-wife is still deeply involved with the affair partner, and I've refrained from bringing it up, as it seems to occupy her attention. What unexpected agreements or strategies worked for you during this phase? Any advice on moving through this period and keeping her off balance would be greatly appreciated. Besides the gray rock technique, I've been increasing my social activities and keeping details of my life private. Your experiences and tips would be invaluable as I navigate this difficult time. Dim Tim from Q suggests drafting what seems like the most advantageous agreement possible. Present it to your lawyer to refine it into a realistic yet favorable proposal. Then, use the prospect of a quick resolution to dangle the idea of, "I'll be out of your hair, and you can get back to your new partner," in front of her. This could push her to agree to terms that work in your favor. Director 25530 recounts his experience where his ex left him for a wealthy affair partner. She was convinced that her lover would leave his wife and marry her. She wasn't interested in his home, retirement account, or stock portfolio, just half of their savings. He considered revealing the affair to the lover's wife, but was advised by his attorney to play nice until the divorce was finalized. His ex withdrew $60,000 from their savings and disappeared. I've posted about my ongoing situation before. After catching my wife cheating, she claimed she was in love with her affair partner and gaslit me with excuses. I served her divorce papers, and now we're a few weeks into the process. Currently, I'm cohabitating with her for the sake of our children, though I've moved into a separate room to create some distance. I'm practicing the gray rock method, minimizing engagement and showing little interest in discussions, though I have to put on a bit of a facade for the kids. I try to be upbeat around them since they're still small and need stability. I'm also making myself less available in the evenings, going out with friends, working out, etc. I'm seeking advice on how to navigate this delicate balance of bonding with my kids while managing the stressful situation with my soon-to-be ex. Any tips on how to handle family interactions and what to avoid would be appreciated. I've made a few posts about my situation. Wife cheated, claimed the affair partner was the greatest emotional connection ever, and I served her divorce papers. I'm about 1.5 to 2 months past the discovery day, D-Day, and working hard to move forward. This post isn't meant to provide a new update, but to request advice from those who've been through this process. I'm looking for any lessons learned, things you wish you'd done differently, or helpful insights about what to expect next. The advice from previous posts has been invaluable, and any further guidance would be greatly appreciated. Super helpful advice from everyone, and those who reached out directly have been incredible. I'm reaching out again to see if there's anything more that might be of help. Kranich suggests being prepared and having someone from your support system on quick dial. The process will take time and many things can happen during it, like her blaming you for the affair, the fog of her affair lifting and her asking for a second chance, or even attempts to hurt you. There are numerous possibilities until the process is completed, but you can prepare by having a set response ready when you see her, maintaining a clear approach when interacting with her, ideally using the gray rock method, and knowing who to contact when you need support. Stay consistent in your actions and never make decisions on the spot. If she asks for something, tell her you need time to think and will respond in 3 days. Update. My wife cheated, and now I'm being made to feel like the bad guy. For those who don't know, my story is in my post history, but to summarize, my wife cheated, found her greatest emotional connection ever, and I served divorce papers. Now, as the process moves forward, I'm getting cold reactions from a lot of her family and some friends. I informed some of her relatives, my family, and a few friends, but kept it quiet overall. Despite being a good dad and husband, it's tough when close family turns their back on you. Has anyone experienced a change in how their in-laws or friends viewed them over time? Did you eventually stop caring and move on? Desert Tron 1000 advises not to worry too much about her side of the family, as they'll soon be irrelevant. Just keep your evidence handy in case it's needed. Brook Trout 523 shares that his ex-wife came clean to her family about the affair and leaving him for another man. Her parents haven't spoken to him in 4 months but have been fully supportive. They understand his pain and have been there for him and his children, seeing him as part of their family after many years. Siblings are indecisive, hoping for the family dynamics to return to normal despite knowing she's a manipulator and liar. If she's not welcome at family events in the future, I'll let my character, which they should know well by now, speak for itself. My sons have minimal contact with her since the affair. One has only spoken to her once, briefly. They've lost respect for her and have made it clear they will never be around her affair partner. Another thought from Ia Dawn 1096. This is a common issue. When a husband cheats, the reaction is often that he's a worthless liar who betrayed his wonderful wife. However, when a wife cheats, the typical reaction is to question what the husband must have done to drive her to someone else. It's a pitiable double standard, with many assuming that a cheating wife must have been driven to it by an emotionally distant or abusive husband. Update: The Wife Cheated Saga, the unexciting conclusion. Hi everyone, as of today, there's some closure coming my way in this saga that began over the summer. I want to start by thanking this community for the incredible support and advice, especially those who reached out privately with words of wisdom. Going through this process has been tough, especially being alone with my thoughts, but it has brought some wisdom and introspection. For a recap, my wife cheated and tried to hide it. When I discovered the affair and realized there was no hope, I filed for divorce. The past few months have been frosty but relatively drama-free as we separated our lives in the house while still managing things for our children. The discovery and mediation process moved quickly. We agreed on a 50-50 custody arrangement, including schedules and holidays, and asset division was handled according to the law with some compromise. I won't go into too many details right now, but I will soon be finding a new place for a fresh start. The final conclusion of the divorce is approaching, and most of the process is complete. As for advice from this experience, I've learned a lot. Don't waste time on trying to win back someone who's already shown their true colors. I learned that lesson the hard way after trying to negotiate and reason with her for a week before realizing it was pointless. My soon-to-be ex is still deep in the fog, but that's her decision to live with. If you're in a similar situation, make sure to lawyer up with an experienced family law attorney who is reasonable and understands your needs. My attorney was invaluable in guiding me through this process and keeping the fees manageable by allowing me to handle much of the prep work myself. This helped settle things relatively quickly. Rely on friends and family for support as much as possible. Exercise has been crucial for maintaining my mental health. I started hitting the weights about a month after D-Day, and the physical and mental benefits have been significant. Individual counseling has also been a tremendous help. From reading various posts and reflecting on my own situation, it's clear that the decisions to cheat were entirely on my soon-to-be ex-wife. She told me I was just a roommate, that she loved me but wasn't in love, and blamed our marriage's problems on me working too much. Now, understanding the timeline, I see that our marriage started to unravel after she let someone into her life who fed her ego and gave her the attention she craved. She had to create a narrative where I was the villain to justify her actions. Sure, life stresses and the challenges of a long-term marriage played a role, but not communicating with her husband and confiding in a morally bankrupt individual was a recipe for disaster. The final chapter of Captain Sacknut's saga is yet to be written, but poor choices come with consequences. I appreciate everyone's support throughout this journey. There's still a lot of work ahead, but I'm looking forward to new adventures in this next chapter of my life. If anyone needs support, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. Update. While the saga of my case is nearing its end, new revelations keep coming. I recently learned that my cheating soon-to-be ex had also cheated on her previous fiancé with a married man. This was years before we met, and the affair partner met a tragic end in a fatal car crash. I had no idea about this until now, but it underscores how the emptiness in a cheater's life never seems to be filled. I used to feel immense guilt about my role in our marriage, but this new information reinforces that nothing I did would have changed the outcome. To those who have been in a similar situation, did you discover that your ex had a history of cheating? Any comments or experiences from the community would be appreciated. Ray846200 and Chipto484 shared similar experiences. Ray846200 mentioned that his soon-to-be ex-wife had cheated on her previous husband to escape that marriage. She revealed this on their first date and allowed him to decide whether to continue. At the time, she seemed genuinely remorseful, but justified her actions by claiming her former husband was physically abusive. Now, however, the narrative has shifted, and I'm being painted as the bad husband who pushed her to cheat. Update. Has your ex pushed to remain in your life post-divorce? I'm nearing the point of moving into my own place while staying in our marital home for legal reasons and to co-parent with my soon-to-be ex. My previous posts detail the emotional saga and ongoing process. Thankfully, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Despite this, I've remained firm in my stance that she destroyed our marriage and thus forfeits any claim to a continued friendship. She has been persistent in wanting to help decorate my new house and maintain holiday traditions for the kids. I've clearly communicated that she wanted to replace me and that I'm fulfilling her wish by stating she won't be welcome in my new home. Has anyone else experienced their ex wanting to stick around after the divorce? I suspect it's about appearances. If we maintain a semblance of friendship, it might seem like the breakup wasn't so severe. Her affair partner has yet to be publicly acknowledged, but it's only a matter of time before their relationship is exposed. I have no interest in being around them and plan to stay well out of their way when that day comes. Thanks to this supportive group. It appears your soon-to-be ex-wife might be trying to keep some control over the situation or is dealing with her own guilt and remorse. It's possible she's attempting to preserve her image for the sake of the children or to avoid being seen as the villain. Regardless of her reasons, setting and sticking to firm boundaries is essential for your emotional well-being. Her past and present actions, while distressing, only reinforce that the problems in the relationship were not your fault. Keeping this perspective is vital as you continue to heal. The greatest emotional connection she claims to have will likely face reality soon enough. Keep your distance and stay focused on creating a healthy new life for yourself and your children. You've already demonstrated immense courage and resilience in dealing with this situation. Keep your head up, continue to move forward, and remember that this community is here to support you. Take care of yourself and don't hesitate to lean on your support network. You're doing an excellent job navigating these difficult circumstances. Stay strong and keep progressing. Wishing you the best. Now for some community interaction with Proxy23. Proxy23 mentioned that her actions might be a way for her to absolve herself of guilt, suggesting that if she remains in your inner circle, it would imply the betrayal isn't as significant. OPI, original poster, replied that he knows she's concerned with image management and frequently posts on social media. OPI has been reducing his social media activity for his mental health, but she is definitely not in his inner circle, and he has not been sharing his thoughts or plans with her. Proxy23 followed up by asking if family and friends know about her cheating. OPI responded that his family is aware, though it seems they prefer to overlook their daughter's behavior. They know the facts but might be trying to sweep it under the rug. Some friends are aware of the divorce, but OPI suspects she has been presenting her own version of the story. He's receiving disapproving looks from some of her acquaintances but notes that they aren't his friends, and their opinions are irrelevant to him. Update. D is for decree and other fun stuff. Hello, fellow members of this club nobody wants to join. I wanted to provide a final update, though I'll remain active to offer advice. The time has come to move on to the next chapter of my life. It still hurts to write this and say goodbye to the future I once envisioned, but I've accepted that change is necessary, and it's full speed ahead. One of my last posts is linked below if anyone needs a recap. In short, the Standard Cheater's Handbook applies here. My wife cheated, and the process of moving on has been documented in my previous updates. As of today, the official decree has been issued, and I am no longer married. I've also picked up the keys to my new house and will start moving as soon as possible. I opted for a buyout as I felt it was best to start fresh in a new place. I got lucky and found a well-maintained house that's ready for me to create new memories. I'm now just a minute away from my current home, which features a huge fenced-in backyard, a wood fire pit, a big garage, and a prime location. I back up to a nature preserve, and as an avid outdoorsman and biker, I have a gateway to my own little paradise. Some might wonder why I chose to stay so close, but it's important for me to be near my kids. They need to know their dad is nearby whenever they need him. Thanks to the advice from this community, I've stayed focused on what matters most. I started a workout program and dove headfirst into a new career opportunity that's recently paid off significantly. I'm not bothered about old relationships or seeking a new partner. I plan to enjoy single life for a while. As for my ex and her affair partner, I've honestly started to let go of that whole mess. Whatever happens now is no longer my concern. As someone wisely said, if someone gets involved with someone who cheated on their spouse, they're getting a person who has a history of infidelity. I did my best as a husband and father, and now it's time for someone else to appreciate that. Thank you all for the messages, advice, and well wishes. This community has been a lifeline for me in the past few months when I didn't have many close contacts nearby. For those just starting this difficult journey, keep moving forward one step at a time. I'm not an expert, but I'm here to lend an ear to those who need it. Good luck to everyone. Update 1 month after the decree. Hello all. I wanted to provide a quick update, especially for those who are newly navigating their post-D-Day life. It's been 6 weeks since the decree, and I moved into my new place a month ago. I've been working hard to turn it into my sanctuary, and it's now well furnished and feels like home. The kids have visited many times, and the new routine is working well. They seem to be adjusting nicely and have expressed how much they enjoy spending time at Dad's house. Initially, having newfound freedom was a bit strange, but making to-do lists and setting daily, weekly, and long-term goals has been really helpful. I was sad at first, but staying busy has kept those feelings at bay. Right now, I'm focusing on self-improvement and home improvement. I've thought about re-entering the dating scene, but honestly, I have no interest at the moment. I'm prioritizing my home, fitness, and my kids. Someone once compared getting out of the house to coming up for air after being underwater, and they were spot on. As for my ex, I've kept interactions cordial, though there's no sign of the greatest emotional connection with her affair partner. But honestly, I don't care. Tonight, I sat outside with a few beers and a cigar, enjoying the peace and tranquility of my property, reflecting on how getting away from the situation my ex put me in was the right decision. To those at the beginning of this journey, and who may be doubting the decision to leave, I understand how tough and heartbreaking it can be. But ejecting a cheater was the right move. Update: almost 6 months post-divorce. Hi everyone. I'm approaching the 6-month mark since the divorce and nearly a year since D-Day. It's been therapeutic to share my journey, and I know many have followed along, commented, messaged, and provided hope. Like many others, I've shared my experiences to offer a glimmer of hope to those new to this difficult path. I hope I can continue to help in whatever small way I can. I truly appreciate the support I've received and would love to return the favor. 6 months post D-Day. There's a lot of positive news to share. My new home is fully furnished and feels like a real sanctuary. My kids are thriving with the routine. They love coming over and have made friends in the neighborhood. I'm incredibly thankful that they've adapted so well. They understand that there's dad time and mom time with no complaints or tears. I've thrown myself into home improvements. The house I moved into was previously owned by an older divorced man, and some things were neglected. I saw this as a chance to make the space truly my own. I've also set up a home gym, which has been great for my fitness. I'm working out 4 times a week, focusing on boxing, and getting my body back to where it needs to be. Career-wise, I've gone through a major internal change at work. Despite the upheaval, I've managed to excel, receiving positive feedback and a raise. I've kept my personal situation private at work, which has been beneficial for my career trajectory. While I still struggle with mental health and focus, therapy and regular exercise are helping me manage. Each day, I think less about my ex, and each small step away from that past is a relief. Regarding co-parenting, we maintain a decent relationship. I use the gray rock method to keep interactions strictly about the kids, and it remains cordial. As for the ongoing saga with her affair partner, OM, the so-called world's greatest love story, hasn't materialized. My kids recently mentioned that he's been around in some capacity, which is somewhat amusing given that it's been 6 months since D-Day and they're still sneaking around. These are not exactly the hallmarks of a lasting, trusting relationship. I've come to terms with the fact that whatever will happen will happen. At this point, I'm grateful to be away from the person who caused so much turmoil. Thanks again to everyone for the support. For those at the beginning of this journey, remember that while it's tough, each step forward is a victory. Keep moving forward, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need support. Who can lie to their most trusted partner and not feel an ounce of remorse? I've got a solid chance at building a better life than before. Good riddance to the past, and here's to new beginnings.